Hi, welcome to my latest video. Today I'm going to be filming vlog number 5. It's a nice, calm autumn day today. No rain, no wind. So I thought I'd take the opportunity to film this quickly this morning. I've got the day off work today from the day job. I'm going to be driving down to Devon later on, so I thought I'd quickly do a vlog. There are some noisy workmen approaching who are laying fibre optic cables in the road, and there's a lot of shouting and it's coming this way. So I'm going to try and do this quickly in one take if possible, background noise permitting, and we'll see if I can keep this to under 20 minutes. So far I've not been able to do that with my vlogs. They've always gone over. Okay, so 20 minutes is my target. So it's been 3 months, over 3 months, 3.5 months since I did my last video. Don't worry, I've not given up. My car is still running perfectly. Everything is fine. I've just been really busy. I don't know what's happened to the summer. It's just gone in the blink of an eye. We didn't really have a summer. I mean, it's not raining today, but it's about the first dry day for months, really. It's just rained and rained and rained. And on the weekends that it wasn't raining, I was busy with other things. We are having our kitchen replaced at the moment. So even though I'm getting people in to do that, it's still taking a lot of my time setting up a temporary kitchen upstairs and just dealing with all the turmoil and chaos that happens when you have a new kitchen fitted. So there's been that going on. I've been doing a lot of DIY. I have been doing a few odd jobs on the car, but I haven't done anything major. I'll run through projects shortly on this video. So here we are, end of October. Last video was beginning of July, and that was Bewley. Okay, so did the Bewley Land Rover, Simply Land Rover show early July, and I put up a video of a bit of a walkabout at the show. I bought this at a show. That was the only thing I bought, actually, a terra firma winch blanket or winch sail. I just thought that would be a useful thing to carry, just as a safety precaution. That was the only thing I bought there. There were a few trade stands, but it's not really a big trade show. It's not like the Billing show or the Belvoir show. It's more of a walkabout and look at cars kind of show. Okay, so it was good. I was there with the 4x4 response guys. It rained heavily to start with, but we arrived about 7 a.m. We were like the first ones there, and it poured down. And then the sun came out and it was very nice, and I actually got to have a ride around the off-road track in a old sort of ex-military 110 Defender. I wasn't driving, I was sort of in the back rolling about, trying to cling on for dear life in the back of one of the fellow responder guy's car, and yeah, it was fun. It was a good day out. Okay, and then since then everything's just stopped, really. I haven't really done any major projects. Have I got my ladder fitted? No. Have I got my Webasto fitted? No. Well, it's fitted, it's not wired up. So all of those big projects that I intended to do over the summer I just haven't done, and I just have no excuse, really. It's just time just disappeared. But the important thing is the car's going well. My channel is in good shape. So I am almost at 7,000 subscribers, and in a couple of weeks I'll hit 2 million views. Now, I started my channel about 11 years ago, and it took me a long time to get to 1 million views. I think it was about 2 years ago or so I hit 1 million, and now I'm almost at 2 million. So things are increasing exponentially, and wouldn't it be great if I hit 3 million within 12 months from now? That would be absolutely fantastic. Revenue is slowly increasing. It's a bit variable, it's a bit seasonal, but yeah, I'm getting about £140 a month. It's not a lot, but it helps. It helps to pay for a lot of these parts and things that I'm doing in the videos. So it's growing slowly. It takes time, and I'm fully aware that I need to keep videos coming along, okay? Otherwise people just get bored and the viewing figures drop off. So I am going to be doing a lot of new videos over this autumn and the winter, and I just need to get back in the saddle and get filming again, really, and just get some things done on the car. So now that summer's done, holidays, and I didn't really get a holiday this year because we were saving hard for the kitchen, but I did go camping to Cornwall. That was fun, just a sort of couple of nights in Cornwall camping. I had my solar panel on the roof, okay, so I've had to remove that now. I've still got the spade up there actually from one of the other events I did, which I'll talk about in a moment. But I had the solar panel on the back, and then in the boot here I had a couple of big cool boxes here running off the solar panel, and you can just see the controller is just down there, okay. So that was good, kept the drinks and food cold. For the camping trip, but also for the 4x4 events that I did in the summer when it was very briefly hot weather for like 2 days, and even then it wasn't that hot. It was sort of like high 20s rather than 35 to 40 degrees, which we've had a couple of times over the last few years, but climate change seemed to sort of leave us alone this year, really. It was just dull and wet and not very warm. So Cornwall, did that. I also did Carfest, okay, so Carfest was a big event in Hampshire in the UK, sort of fairly near where I am, the other side of Basingstoke, and it is a music festival with cars. It sounds a bit strange, but imagine Goodwood Festival of Speed mixed with Glastonbury. It was, I would say, as big as Glastonbury. It was huge, absolutely huge. They had a huge stage. It was like 2 stages really, with the music in the evenings, with some big names. Ollie Murs was there. I actually saw Ollie Murs. And during the day, it's a car show really. So there's all car themed. There's a racetrack. There's drifting. There's Formula One cars going round. All sorts of things like that. So I was there with the 4x4 responders, volunteering to really provide traction assistance should anybody get stuck in the car park. Now Carfest is in August. It's the sort of show which normally it's hot and sunny and the responders all sit around with nothing to do. This time it poured down. It absolutely poured down on the Saturday, and the car parks just turned to a sea of mud. It was horrendous. It was really, really bad. It was my first year doing it. Some of the guys there had been doing it for about 9 or 10 years, and they said it was the worst they'd ever seen. And we worked from 7 a.m. till about 1 a.m. the following morning, pulling cars out of the mud. I actually got to use my winch, finally. I actually winched a van up a hill that was stuck, and I've still got the big shackle attached under there. I towed various vehicles. There was a BMW, there was a van, there was a Merc. I gave a jump start to a Porsche. It was all sorts of vehicles getting stuck, and a lot of those vehicles were electric and hybrid cars, and we can't touch those. The responders are not insured to tow electric vehicles, even hybrids, okay? So if they can get themselves sort of moving under the engine, so the wheels are turning, even if they're not actually going along, then that's okay. We can provide assistance to get them moved. But just towing a dead vehicle, if you do that with an electric, apparently it can cause major damage, okay, to the motors or whatever. I don't know, okay, but we've just been told we're not allowed to touch them. And I would say about half the vehicles there were electric or hybrid, and it was just carnage. It was awful. I mean, cars were skidding into each other. The mud was really slippery. We had idiots who were using it like a rally course, churning up the mud, deliberately spinning their wheels and skidding. And yeah, it's just not good, really. I go to those events knowing that I'm going to get a bit of aggro from the public. They get very impatient. They get angry because their vehicles aren't moving and they want to get home, and they take it out on the responders who are volunteers, not being paid. and that's very unfair, but it's par for the course. It's going to happen, and I go there expecting that. What I didn't expect was to get verbal abuse from other responders. Okay, so there was one guy in particular who had a massive rant at me, and it just ruined the weekend, really, and it really knocked my enthusiasm for being a responder and doing this, really. It has affected me. Yeah, it's just difficult, really, when you do all this and you put in the effort for free. You know, you're not getting paid, you're doing it as a hobby, as a thing you enjoy, and then somebody goes and ruins it, and it's just, you know, just one person. It takes one person really just to spoil it completely. But anyway, I'm not going to go into all that now. I've made a complaint. I don't think it's been taken seriously, but we shall see. So anyway, enough moaning about Carfest. I said I used the winch. I've also trimmed the grill here finally. Okay, I have actually just made that black with some marker pen. It looks a bit rubbish, but I will respray that all at some point. But the grill plastic here needed to be relieved slightly, because when you wind the winch right back in, this sort of sheath thing on the rope was catching, and it had sort of flaked the paint off where it had flexed the plastic. So I've kind of cut a bit of a chunk out of that. You'll notice my car still has the responder magnetic sticker things on the side, and it's still got a nice coating of mud. That's not actually from Carfest, that's from the lanes nearby. I have actually cleaned it thoroughly since Carfest. It was absolutely plastered in mud. This is nothing. It was mud. There was mud everywhere because the car parks were so muddy. The wheels, even in mud and ruts mode, all the wheel tyres were spinning. I even had mud in the car. We had to give lifts to Chris Evans's, Chris Evans, UK television celebrity, ex-Top Gear presenter. It's his show, Carfest, right? It's his creation. He was there, and a lot of the celebrities stay at what's called Camp Chris, which is up in the woods, sort of away from all of the public, and they couldn't get up there because the track had turned into a sea of mud. So we had to actually use the 4x4s, the Land Rovers mainly, to ferry the VIPs, the Chris Evans' friends and family, up to Camp Chris, and even that was a challenge. My car was struggling. I had a Range Rover going sideways in front of me. It was really treacherous, and they had planned to use golf buggies, and as you can imagine, that just wasn't going to happen. So yeah, the whole event just turned into a sea of mud. Very, very hard work. I don't know if I'll be doing it next year, not sure. Okay, but what I did when I got back was kind of cleaned the outside, cleaned the inside, got all the mud off. I had mud on the seats, on the dashboard, all over the floor mats. Anybody who I gave a lift to in my car had thick mud on their shoes. I even had mud on the headlining. I don't know how that got there. So yeah, it was just a mess. Okay, so I've kind of cleansed all that. Now what I haven't done is removed the inner wheel arch liners. Okay, so I haven't removed those yet, and I do need to do that because there's probably mud caught up above those or behind those. Okay, so that's a job on my list. I need to do that. I mentioned about the spade, actually. Did actually use the spade briefly. It's still on there. I just haven't managed to get up and take it off, really. But amber strobes were on for pretty much the full 5 days, really. They got a serious workout, those strobes. Here's a couple of pictures of me with the strobes on, trying to sort of marshal the event and move traffic and direct people and things like that. So as well as Carfest, I did the Moonlight Walk. So this is a charity sponsored walk for St Michael's Hospice in Basingstoke. It's a 10 kilometre sponsored walk around the streets of Basingstoke. I did that recently. That was my last event that I did. I need to have a bit of a think about whether or not I do any events next year. Yeah, I don't know really. I've renewed my membership with the 4x4, but this year just hasn't been as enjoyable as previous years. I don't know. Maybe I'll sort of have a bit of a think about it over the winter, and we'll see what comes up next year. Okay, but that moonlit walk was very good. That all went well. Everybody behaved themselves. We didn't have any eggs thrown at us this year, unlike last year. So that was good. And I also had my MOT, which it passed again. 189,000 miles. Passed every MOT. A couple of advisories here and there, but it's passed. First time, every MOT. Really, really good, and really is testament to sort of how well I look after the car. And the tester always says, oh, it's in excellent condition for its age. So that was really good. The interesting thing with the MOT is I left my LED bulbs in there. Okay, so dip as well as main. It should have failed, but I've got the projector bulbs now, so the tester can't see that it's LEDs, and it passed. It passed. The beam pattern was correct. If you want to know more about what I did there, look back at my headlight upgrade video and my LED bulb, part 1 and 2 of the LED bulb series. So these are the Philips Altonen bulbs. Okay, they are very bright, but they're not dangerously bright. They give a nice crisp white beam pattern and have passed the MOT, which is fantastic. The only advisory that I got was my lower arm bush. I think it's the one on the driver's side. The sort of big rubber thing on the lower arm had a bit of play in it. Okay, so it was an advisory, not a fail. So I will be doing lower arms at some point. I'll do them both because the other one's probably in a similar state. And yeah, that was kind of it really. Nothing else was mentioned. The night before the MOT, I actually found a nail in one of my tyres. It just picked up a sort of like a roofing tack kind of nail, and I thought, oh, these tyres have got chunky treads, I'll just pull that out and it'll be fine. Pulled it out and air started to hiss. So I had to put the spare on, which is a different size. And then I read up in the regs that MOT failure, if you've got different size tyres across the same axle. Okay, so you could have different size on the back to the front, but across each axle must be the same, and mine wasn't. So I said to the tester, look, this is what's happened. I've had to put the spare on. I sort of told a slight porky and said, don't worry, it's the same size. It's just a road tyre instead of an off-road tyre. And he didn't, he passed it. He didn't notice that it was slightly different size. It was a 235/65. This is a 245/70. Okay, so he passed that, which was really good, really lucky. I don't know if he turned a blind eye or whether he just didn't actually just read the size, just took my word for it. But anyway, it was passed. And then while it was getting MOT'd, I got this tyre repaired and put that straight back on again. Okay, so problem solved. A little bit of a panic. I think what I need to do is to get a spare tyre that matches in size to these. It doesn't necessarily have to be an all-terrain. It just needs to be the same size, so that if I ever do have to put the tyre on and drive with it for an MOT, or even just driving to get home after getting a puncture, at least I know it's the same size then, because obviously a smaller tyre is going to rotate faster, could cause diff issues or Haldex problems or something like that. So that was all sorted and disaster averted. I passed the MOT, which was really, really good. So, videos. Okay, last video that I did, well, not the last video I did, a video before last, was about these engine mounts. Okay, so these are the I think they're not Polybush, they're Powerflex stiffening inserts. Okay, now a few other people on YouTube have done similar videos, okay, on those, and everybody's gone a bit mad for these. Okay, so I don't think it was just due to my video. I know that Gareth at Empire Tuning did a video on that, and I can't remember if Scott and Lana have done one. I know that they've done about 97 videos about the mud run at Billing Aquadrome, but I don't know if they've done a video on these. I'm sure it's on their list if they haven't. So there is a stiffening insert there, and there's another one down below. I ended up with the yellow softer one down below and the black stiffer one above. Okay, so black down below was just too much, okay, too firm, okay. But yellow at the top, I found I could actually go a bit stiffer to the black race only inserts without any issues. So interestingly though, no complaints at all from Mrs. Pitts. She said she quite liked the black stiff inserts. I, however, found that the vibrations coming up through the seat became quite uncomfortable after a while. So I had to switch from the black insert back to the yellow one, because it was just, I drove all the way to the billing show with the black inserts top and bottom, and it was like a bone shaker. It was too much vibrations. Okay, so talking of vibrations, I did a little walkabout with this camcorder at Beavis, the last video I did, and I had the image stabilization setting turned on this camcorder, which I thought was the right thing to do, because I thought, well, I'm walking about, it's bumping around, I'll put the image stabilization on. And one of my viewers said, oh, I'm struggling to watch your video, it's giving me a headache, it keeps jumping about. What I think was happening was the image stabilization was trying to sort of lock the image and then jumping as I'm turning, and it's like lock, 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 jump, lock, 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 jump. Something like that. I don't know, I did watch the video back. I didn't really kind of see a problem with it, but let me know, actually leave a comment below if you did watch the Bewley video. Did you find it a bit jumpy or shaky or whatever? Okay, did it give you a headache? What I've done on this video is turned off image stabilization. So if I just sort of rotate around a bit, okay, so this is 25 frames a second, and I think it's a 2K resolution I film in. It might be 4K, can't remember. High resolution, but I find if I do 50 frames a second, it's unnecessary, and it ends up with sort of 100 gigabyte video clips. So that is a ridiculous amount of size. The file sizes are huge, and you know, it all then takes a lot longer to upload to YouTube and that sort of thing. So I've got it as high res as I can without sort of unnecessarily high res, because in the future, of course, everybody will be quite happily watching 4K. I mean, we've gone to HD on the televisions now. Now they're doing Ultra HD. You know, it's just a moving target, isn't it? So I don't want to upload videos to YouTube that are 720p or whatever, because that's just old resolution. It's got to be high res now, HD. Okay, so I think it's 1080p. It might even be I think 2K. I think you can do now, but of course you've got to have good connection to watch it on that resolution. Okay, so you can make it reduce the resolution if you're on a slower connection. Okay, but the idea is that I upload as high res as I can, as bigger files as I can, so sort of future-proofs them. Okay, now what I've done is I bought one of these things here. This is a sort of gimbal-y thing. Now it's designed to take a mobile phone. I don't even know if I could put a camcorder on this, but when I do walkabout at a show, I could actually film on my phone, which has also got a fairly good camera. It's an old iPhone now, but it's still got a pretty good camera on it. And this will sort of steady. I mean, it's not turned on at the moment, but it's one of these kind of things where you can move around. You could basically run along and it would keep the camera steady. I've not used it yet, but we'll get that going at some point, find out what it's all about, and does it prevent people getting headaches when they watch my videos. So, only other thing on the vibrations, not a vibration thing, but more of a squealing thing. I've got a rattly brake pad down here. Here's a little clip of me rattling it. I could hear a rattle for many weeks, which went away when I pressed the brake pedal. So I knew it was something to do with brakes. So I thought it was like the disc shield or something, I don't know, something to do with the brakes. But then when I actually touched the brake pads, they were kind of loose and rattly. There is a spring on the front. You can actually see it. It's fitted there. So it can't be that. It's not that that's come off. It's got to be something, either the sort of rubber pad thing on the back of the brake pads, or let's have a look. So the brake pads I'm running at the moment are Mintex. These are Brembo. Oh, of course the box is sealed up. Okay, all right, never mind. I was going to try and open that up and have a look and see if we can see what the back of those pads are like. So those are the pads that I'm going to be fitting on the front after these Mintexes come out. Now, whilst it rattles and it's annoying, the pad has actually got half its life left on it. Okay, so do I want to remove it just because it rattles a bit? Might be able to do something. I don't think copper grease on the back would be enough. It's not that sort of, it's not really a squeal, although they do squeal slightly sometimes when they get a bit hot, but it's more of just a kind of loose rattly sound, which is a bit unnerving. So I'll have a look at them at some point. The brakes work fine, the pads have got life left in them, it's past the MOT, so it's not dangerous, but it's just a bit annoying really, the sound. So maybe I'll just pull those out, bin them, and put in the Brembos and see how they work. I think I've got Brembos on the back actually. I've got the vented discs, vented cross drill groove discs all round. Brembos on the back, good. Not really had any problems at all, really. Braking is good. So I'll put the Brembos on the front, see how they perform. Right, now I've got a lot of things on the table here that I need to go through quickly. So products, okay, so products, orders, August, very quiet. I think I sold one pair of headlight release rods in August. The whole month, nothing. Orders just dropped off a cliff. And I thought, oh, what's going on? Maybe everybody's just on holiday or something. And then September the 1st, as soon as the kids all go back to school, everybody starts tinkering with the cars again, and orders went crazy and are still crazy now. Okay, so I'm taking 10 to 20 orders a week at the moment, mostly for spotlight brackets. Okay, so they are still selling very, very well. I just can't keep up with the production on those. Keep going out of stock for mainly the facelift Freelander 2 ones, because I do them for Discovery, Discovery 4, pre-facelift, facelift, Freelander 2, facelift, pre-facelift, and now Evoque. Okay, so I'll talk more about those in a moment. But first of all, let's just talk about discontinued products. Okay, so because the kitchen's being done, I am banned from doing polyurethane in the kitchen, and basically I can't risk spilling any kind of brightly coloured chemicals on the new worktop, okay, which isn't fitted yet, but is going to be fitted later in next week, I think. So no more polyurethane. So that means that air horn mounts, I've still got a few of these in stock, okay, so I've got about, I don't know, 5 or so of those. Air box duct adapter, sold out, gone, that's it, no more of those. And lift spacers, that's just one odd spacer that I've got left over when I fitted my front spacers. So those are discontinued as well, okay. Roof mounts as well. I get a lot of inquiries from people going, oh, I really need your roof light bar brackets. I can't see them on your website. Sorry, those have gone as well, because they're not 3D printed. The original shape was 3D printed, then they were moulded in a 2-part silicone mould. So I had to stop making those. However, there is a glimmer of hope. Okay, so whilst our kitchen is being done, we are cooking in a microwave upstairs. So I've actually built a temporary kitchen upstairs with a bit of worktop right across the back of the spare room. Got rid of the bed that was in there. My daughter doesn't really stay over anymore. So we're going to get a little sofa bed, should anybody need to stay. But the room is a lot more spacious now, and I've got a great big workbench across the back. So when the kitchen's finished and all the kitchen clutter moves back downstairs, I will have a workbench. And I'll probably sit at that to do my day job with my laptop and my screens and that, but the other half of the workbench could potentially be used for car part manufacture. Now, not 3D printers, okay, so those are outside in the summer house, mainly because of the fumes from the ABS, but polyurethane, which also makes a lot of fumes. So I'd need to sort the ventilation, okay. I don't really want to be sleeping near curing polyurethane, that's not good. But if I could sort out the ventilation so that any fumes are extracted out, then I may be able to restart polyurethane. Watch this space, no promises. I will have to see how things go, okay? But it's a glimmer of hope that I may be able to start making some of the parts that I have not been able to make for some time. Okay, new products, many new products. I have been busy, you see, so I know I've been busy with other things, and I haven't been working on the car, but I have been designing loads of new products. Okay, so in no particular order, let's have a quick look here. So, intercooler clips. Okay, these things here, these are little intercooler clips. They go on your uprated silicone intercooler hoses, and they protect the hose from rubbing against the sort of chassis, subframe, body, whatever it is. There's some sort of metal down there which kind of like rubs against the hose and can wear through. So you fitted nice expensive silicone hoses, and a few weeks later they've got holes in them, okay? So those ones go either end of the intercooler, and then we have these, okay, so you fit one of these depending on whether you're pre-facelift or facelift. There is a metal sort of hoop thing on the cross member which is only there on pre-facelift, and on the facelift it's a sort of bracket for a bolt, okay? So this one here is that's the pre, and that one is the post facelift, which has a little bolt. Takes a bolt through it, okay? Not the big hole there, the little hole there. Okay, so I'll put up some pictures now of those being fitted. They are on sale, okay? So the two at the end protect against the bodywork. The third one is to stop the air conditioning compressor mounting bolt heads from making a hole in the hose, okay? So the hose may look like it's cleared, but under boost it kind of shoves itself back, and after time it hits those bolt heads and it will get a hole in it. I've had that happen to me, okay? So I actually just put like a Michelor clamp around the hose to sort of protect it, and that over time almost wore through, okay? So the best thing is to actually just clip the hose out of the way, holding it securely. You can't use the standard factory clip, it's too small, okay, because silicone hoses are slightly bigger. So, intercooler hoses. If you fitted silicone uprated intercooler hoses, you may want to fit my intercooler hose protection clips. Evoke mounts, okay, so Evoke spotlight mounts, okay, there are spotlight mounts. There's one without its sort of rear piece, so that's the rear piece. This is the first one actually where I've had to actually do different rear pieces for the strobes, okay? So on the Freelander and the Disco brackets, the strobe mount, this piece here, which doesn't actually have its LED strobe on the front, that uses the same rear piece as the spotlight bracket. Now with the Evoke, I had to do it differently, and the reason is because the grille, and this is the sort of pre-facelift Evoke grille, it's so sort of curved. You would put spotlight mounts on the bottom, strobes you put on the top. Okay, that's a normal way to do it because there may be a Land Rover badge here. Okay, you wouldn't want spotlight mounts here. The spotlights would be sticking up above your bonnet, and strobes here, when you've got the badge there, they'd just be too close together, so you put the strobes on the top one. Now the rear part is much more slanted on the top, so it needs a slightly more slopey rear piece, okay? So that's the rear piece for the strobe mount there, and those are the spotlight mounts. Those are finished. It's taken me months of development work to get that right. Many iterations. I just kept on fine-tuning the design. It had to be correct. I just wasn't happy with the fit over and over. Probably after about 30 attempts I got it right. That's the pre-facelift grille. There is another grille. In fact, there are actually two other grills. There's an intermediate which has got much smaller diamonds. I'm not going to make any mounts for those. The holes are just so small, the mounts just won't be strong enough, okay, to hold spotlights. So might possibly do strobes, maybe, we'll see. But what I'm focusing on now is this Evoke grille here, which is the latest one. Okay, so that's the sort of what I call the facelift, pre-facelift, facelift. There is sort of another one in the middle. Okay, middle lift, middle face. I don't know what that one's called, but this is the latest one. As far as I know, it might have even been superseded already by another one. The Evoke's got so many different sort of marks and versions and designs, so they keep changing it. But this is the sort of later one with these kind of sort of oval shaped sort of holes here. I'll hold that up a bit so you can actually see it. There you go. It's a little bit dark today. So you've got these kind of, they're not diamond shaped holes, they're more sort of like oval kind of holes. So that's what I'm going to be working on next, getting that one sorted. I haven't even started the design for that yet, but that'll be one of the next products that I do. LED clips. Now, nobody bought any of these over the summer because it was light. Nobody was worrying about headlights and not being able to see. Now it's getting darker in the UK, Northern Hemisphere. It's probably nice and sunny in Australia and New Zealand, but certainly Europe and the UK and North America, it is getting a bit dingy in the evenings. So people are starting to think about LED bulbs. Even if you don't run LED in dip and you want them in main, you will need H7, okay? So earlier lights H7, H7, later ones H7, H11. Okay, and then we had this sort of LED fairy light type thing later on, but don't worry about those. Okay, I'm talking about proper bulbs. Okay, so LED bulbs, I've put in the Philips's. Let's find some bulbs. Here we go. So here are some LED bulbs. They're the ones I took out actually, but I did 2 videos so far on LED bulbs, looking at the headlights, okay, and testing the brightness, actually with a light meter, testing the brightness and working out what was best, okay. The 2 top ones really were the Philips and the Osram XTRs as well, okay. So I had a guy recently in Cyprus who bought 4 of these, and as a sort of little free gift I threw in the XTR bulbs, okay, because he said, oh, I've bought 2 XTRs and I'd really like 4, and I went, well, I've got a spare pair left over from the video, so he could have them. I gave them to him for free. Okay, he did buy 4 of these clips, so he's going to have 4 Osram XTRs each with these clips. Now these are my design, other clips are available. The feedback I've had so far is people, very, very positive. People say these, if you're fitting them to a Freelander 2, these fit much, much better than anything you can buy on eBay and Amazon. Okay, so I spent a lot of time, again, about 20 or 30 iterations of the design to get it absolutely right. I'm running them in my car here on my mains, okay. Dips are H11, so they don't use clips. H7s, and, well, the bulbs are still in there. They haven't fallen out yet. So those clips are, you know, will fit most LED bulbs, but some of the ones have bigger fans, so just be careful how big the fan is on the back of your LED. If it hasn't got a fan, you probably don't need clips at all, because you can use the factory kind of connector thing. But if you need clips, they're on my website. And what else? Catch can brackets. Okay, so that's not new, well, fairly new. It was sort of last year sometime actually. Did a catch can. Here's the catch can. Okay, with the mount here, so you've got a band around it. Got a little kind of thing there for a cable tie for this balancing pipe, and then an L-shaped bracket that kind of comes up here. I got a load of those outsourced, so I've got like I got 25 of them made. I've sold about 5, so I've got 20 of those each, 20 each. So if you need those, if you want to fit this catch can, if you want to know what the catch can is, go and watch my videos. But it collects all the oily sludge that comes up in the breather hoses from the engine, which would normally just get sent straight back into the inlet. It removes all the oil, well, most of the oil, and then you just have sort of clean gas going back in, okay? A lot of people have fitted those with very good results, and I would not run my car without one now. I was just getting, well, you can still see the rubbish left there from all the oil that used to leak, and now what is going down there doesn't have very much oil in it, okay? A little tiny bit, but not gallons of black sludgy oil, okay? So that's the catch can brackets. I've actually dropped the price for those. Was charging £20 each, but I've got so many of them I need to shift them, so I've dropped it to £15 each. Okay, now I did have to get those outsourced at vast expense, so can't really go any lower than that, but they are now £30 for a pair for the set. Okay, so and the catch cans, they're about £40 on Amazon. You can pick them up cheaper on eBay and that, but it's not a lot of money for a good fix to the problem. Okay, well worth doing. So okay, just on the subject of new products and products in general, I have registered all of my designs with the intellectual, what are they called, intellectual property office. It's kind of like the patent. It's like a patent, but a patent is for an idea. Okay, so if you have an idea, I'm going to invent a car. It's going to be a metal box and it's going to have wheels and an engine and it's going to go along. That's the sort of patent. If you have a design of a car, so it's going to have 5 doors and a boot at the back, and it's going to sort of look like this. That's the design. It's not a patent. Patents are ideas. Designs are more how you want it to look. Okay, so with my brackets here, I can't say, oh, I've invented a spotlight bracket. Spotlight brackets have been around for over 100 years. But the design, the shape of this, the look of it, the way that the parts clip together, the material, colour, that kind of thing. Okay, so I have registered all of my products, okay, including these headlight release rods. So it just kind of protects my intellectual property there. Okay, the 26 different products that I registered, and you know, I now hold the registered design number for those. Okay, so it just, you know, I get a lot of people saying, oh, can you send me the design file so I can 3D print it myself? Not really, no, because one, I sell them. Okay, I put a lot of effort into designing these things, a lot of time and development work to then make them to sell, to supplement my channel. If I give someone the design, even if they pay me some money, it's just too risky. They might start mass producing them themselves, or the designs could fall into the wrong hands, really. So I can't give out the design files. Okay, I get a lot of emails asking me for the design files, but that's not something I'm prepared to do. Okay, so I've actually started, as well as sort of registering the designs and things like that, I've started selling on eBay as well. I've been selling on eBay for a while, so a lot of these parts are on eBay, but I do have to charge a bit more on eBay. I have had a couple of people going, oh, I bought some brackets on eBay, they're like 50 quid and they're 40 quid on your website, what's going on? Well, eBay charge an extortionate fee. Okay, it's something like 12% they take. So when I sell some brackets, and it's free postage as well, because like everybody has free postage on eBay. So if I sell some brackets for the same price on eBay, I lose at least £10. Okay, so I have to charge about 20% more, maybe 25% more on eBay just to cover the fees. Okay, so the fees that eBay take for listing it and for selling it, and then the postage as well, which I have to then buy. So that's why I charge more on eBay. Okay, I mean, at the end of the day, it all sort of works out. So it works out a similar amount of money that comes to me, and you get the free postage with eBay, so it's not really costing you that much more. Okay, so that's eBay and eBay fees. Right, what have I been buying lately? I have bought a gazebo. Okay, so that's a sort of tent thing that will allow me to work on my car in the rain. I bought that in the summer. I've not used it yet. I also bought a CB, which I've fitted and not really used. I used it briefly at Carfest, so there's the aerial run down there and the wires kind of run through here. Scott and Alana did a good video on how to kind of squirrel away that CB aerial wire kind of through, like behind the trim and everything like that. I've not done it quite like that. I've just literally just run it through kind of across the floor and up to here, and I've mounted it there. And the CB I went for is a Thunder pole. Okay, so there's a Thunder pole, what does it say, a T3000. It's quite a nice compact little thing actually, and I've put it there. I was a bit worried that my leg would sort of catch on it and that, but it doesn't, it's actually fine. Sits there quite nicely. Then we've got the doofer microphone thing here, which was stuck up on the dash, but then it just fell off in the sun. So I need to kind of do something proper with that. And then plugged in, what I've done, I've just plugged it in so the power comes on with the ignition. I was running out of USB sockets, so I bought this thing from Halfords, and it's kind of like a triple USB, so it plugs in with one plug and then gives you 3 sockets. And I've got the CB, and I've got my phone cradle, and I've got various other things plugged in. I don't know how I've managed to plug all these things in, okay, but there's the CB, there's the phone cradle, and then I've got my reversing camera, and I've also got an inclinometer there, okay, so that was something I bought a couple of years ago. It is a Mr. Car Tool is what it's called, right? So it's this thing, multi-function smart slope meter, made in Shenzhen something or other in China, okay, but it's really good. It's really good. It's got sort of slope. I'll put up a quick video now. I'm not going to run it up here. I'm not going to power it up here because it does show my GPS location. So it's got speed, it's got GPS, it's got a compass, it's got voltage, it's got all sorts of things, as well as your sort of roll and slope, and you know, if you go off-roading, it kind of shows you if you're about to roll over. So here's a quick clip now of me actually using it. Actually, my daughter in the passenger seat filmed it while I drove on a very wiggly up and down kind of road in Cornwall. Okay, so it's at where is it? Morgan Porth. If you know Morgan Porth, it's a big steep downhill and then a steep uphill with lots of hairpin bends. Okay, so here's a quick video clip of that, showing what it looks like. Okay, so really cool, that really good little device. It was about £35, definitely worth buying. I also bought myself 2 other things. Okay, so this thing is a Sealy battery monitoring thing, okay, and that is just like sitting there on the battery. It's okay, it's Bluetooth connected, and it's meant to warn you if your battery is getting low. But it will also do a sort of cranking test and a charge test and all those kind of things, okay? And then the problem is, when I'm in the house, it's out of range of the Bluetooth. So you don't really find out your battery's gone flat until you get in the car. So all in all, not much use really, but it's nice to see the data. You can see graphs of voltage and charge and things like that. I'll do a separate video on that, okay? But I did fit this thing, Jansite TPMS, tyre pressure monitoring system. Okay, so you get little valve things. Instead of your dust caps, you put little sensors on your valves, and then in the car, it doesn't even need power. It is solar powered. Okay, so it sticks in the window, and then it sits there. And let me zoom in a bit, so you can see it there. And it's got the pressure, and it's also got the temperature, and it will alert you, or it will flash or beep or whatever if you get a puncture or you get overpressure for some reason. It's very, very interesting actually to see how much the pressure increases in the tyres when they warm up when you're driving. It's like 5 psi or so, quite a lot of pressure increase. So that's worth having. One warning that I was given is absolutely be careful with these things, because they rust on or they seize on, and then when you need to put air in your tyre, you can't get them off, and it damages the valve, and you have to get new valves and everything like that. So I've put some white lithium grease in the thread. It has a little lock nut, but what I'm going to do is every sort of month or so is I'll just unscrew those, make sure they do unscrew, re-grease them, and make sure they're on there. But you've got to be a bit careful, because these are not just like dust caps. These are actually pressurized, you see, so the valve is open behind those, so if they come loose at all, it is going to let the air out the tyre. Okay, so I was a little bit nervous about fitting those, but I do like to be able to see my tyre pressures while driving. That's nice, really useful information, really nice to see that. And yeah, I'll let you know how I get on with those really. But again, that was an impulse purchase that I bought. So, right, let's move on now, because we're running out of time. Upcoming videos, Webasto. We had the first frost the other day. I still haven't got my Webasto working. Webasto fuel-fired heater, which will warm the car up before I get in it and start the engine. Remote control. Yeah, it fires up, uses a bit of fuel. Originally I was going to connect it into the main fuel line. I've heard of issues with sort of like the high pressure pump drawing air back through the Webasto. Yes, I could fit a one-way valve, but I thought to start with I will just fit a little tank like this. It's just a little 1 litre tank sort of thing you have on go-karts and that, and I'll put that sort of somewhere safe, like kind of up the back. I don't really want it here, it's a bit vulnerable there really, but don't forget, for most of the year it'll be empty because I won't be using it. It's only in the depths of winter that I need that, and this also being a separate tank would allow me to put like some like Red X or something in to clear any carbon build-up out of the heater. I could even run it on a slightly sort of different mix of fuel to normal diesel. It's just, I like the idea of having a separate fuel tank for the Webasto, but of course I've got to keep it topped up, otherwise it's going to run out of fuel. So I worked out that this thing would give about 10 hours of heating. So if you think about it, the Webasto is going to be used for like quarter of an hour on a frosty morning. So it's very efficient, it doesn't use much fuel. So long as I keep an eye on the fuel level, then in the spring when the frosts are finished I can just drain it out, get rid of it, and it can just sit there empty. So that's that. I will need a filter, so I bought this kind of really nice glass filter, just like the look of that really, so I bought that. And that's that, so I will be getting on with that soon. LEDs, here's all the LED bulbs. Okay, so I will be doing parts 3, 4, 5 and 6 of LED bulb series very soon. Now that it's dark again in the evenings, everybody's thinking about LED bulbs. So I'll be doing those. I'll be looking at brake lights, side lights, reverse lights, fog lights, already done headlights, already done all the theory and stuff like that. Okay, so watch the first 2 videos in that series. The other 4 will be coming along very soon. Right, now let's move the LEDs out of the way because I need to talk about drop links. Anti-roll bar drop links. Okay, so these are standard anti-roll bar drop links. These were from Euro Car Parts, and quite oddly I bought those, which I think came as a pair. I think they're the rear ones. I can't remember which is rear and which is front actually. Let's just have a quick look in here and see. Yeah, I think the longer ones are the front. But I bought those from Euro Car Parts. They're Starline or something like that, own brand ones. And I bought those 2, which I'm sure came in the same pack. But when I look at this, they're different. They're different. This rod is thicker than that rod. They're made by a different company. So I thought, oh, okay, well, I don't really want to fit odd drop links, so maybe I'll look at more high performance ones. So I bought these. So I don't know how you pronounce this. Male. I'm not sure. But these are the ones that a lot of people fit. Okay, so these are high performance, heavy duty drop links. Okay, now I'm not really noticing any difference here. I mean, look at that. This odd one from Euro Car Parts is actually thicker than this. That's the same as the standard one. How can it be heavy duty? The thread is the same. It might have a heavy duty sort of ball joint on the end, but I'm struggling to notice a difference. I think the housing for the actual ball joint is a bit bigger, but I wasn't blown away with those really. I was sort of a bit disappointed. They just look like the standard ones. So I thought, right, got to be able to do better than that. Okay, what else is available? And I came across these hard race. Okay, so these are adjustable, very heavy duty, anodized aluminium, and they've got the same thread, and they just look absolutely amazing. Okay, so those are the rear, and then the front ones are there, and these are actually Honda Civic Type R race grade drop links. Okay, the racing drop links for a highly tuned Honda Civic. Okay, I don't know about the back, but these front ones are Honda Civic ones. Okay, so I'm going to have fun fitting those at some point. I don't even know if they'll fit. I'm not sure. I've gone for slightly shorter front and rear because I've got the lift kit fitted. Okay, so I've got my polyurethane spacers, fitted the rears years ago, and I've now got the fronts on. Okay, so we've got a lift all round, but the front actually, I think, is actually now lifted slightly more because I put 25mm thick on the front. I've still got the old 20mm on the back, so I need to increase the back, put my 40mm or 30. I've got a couple of odd spaces left over from production. Put those on the back, and I've worked out that these are the right length that I need. Okay, so they have a little bit of adjustment in them, about 20mm worth of adjustment, so I can fit them and get them tuned nicely to the right length so nothing kind of knocks or hits anything, and I just think they will look fantastic. The only drawback was the price. These were incredibly expensive. I can't even remember, it was like £270 for the set of 4 or something like that, and considering these were about 40, I think, for the set, and these cheapy ones, no, I think those were about 70. These were about they're about 20 quid for a pair, super cheap ones. Is it really worth spending nearly £300 on drop links? Is it really going to actually do anything for the car? Probably not, but I couldn't resist. Okay, it will make a good video if nothing else. Okay, so you wonder where the money goes that I get from my YouTube videos. That's where it's gone. Okay, so what else? Drop links, ladder. Still haven't fitted the ladder. It's still sitting around in the summer house. Okay, so ladder that side. It's going to be difficult with the fuel cap. Okay, so I think I looked at this in the last vlog I looked at that. So somebody said, why don't you just fit it on the other side? And I thought, well, I can't, because the ladder kind of goes like that. It can only go on the other side, but I could actually I've realised I could just about get it in there, and there's no fuel cap to get in the way. So that is a possibility, and I will look at that in another video coming up very soon. Beam adjustment, okay, beam adjustment motors, blown again. I don't know what's causing it. It's not the back of the bulbs hitting the cover, it's not the motors, it's not the lubrication. I've swapped the motors. It's still blowing the fuse. I think I've got a wiring short somewhere. So currently they're just running maximum dip, okay, and that passed the MOT, and that's fine, but the adjustment knob is just doing nothing at the moment. The fuse is gone. Okay, so that needs a bit of investigation. And then, absolute radical idea. I used to have a Mini years ago, a classic Mini, sort of racing Mini, and the whole front end kind of came off. It was all fiberglass, and it all came off in one piece, so you could easily work on the engine. Very dangerous, but it was really nice being able to remove the entire front. That got me thinking, could I do some sort of quick release bumper, or quick release, I don't know if I'd do the whole front end. That would be the bonnet and the wings of that off at the same time, but the bumper, taking the bumper off is, I mean, it's easy when you know how, but it's still fiddly. There's still a lot of things to deal with. Washer fluid hoses and cable plugs, that horrible plug for the parking sensors and that. It's a pain. It's an absolute pain, and this is one reason why I haven't really got on with the Webasto, because you have to remove the front end. So could I make a quick release front end, maybe with some sort of like rubber hooks or like those Zeus fasteners, whatever you pronounce them? It's something to think about. Okay, nearly done. Right, postage. Last thing on my list, postage. Okay, I used to send everything by 24-hour, like first class signed, basically. Next day delivery in the UK. I'm now getting Royal Mail to collect the parcels from here. So they do a Royal Mail tracked 24 or 48. In order to try and keep postage costs down, because a first class, to send a pair of these first class, it's like £5.70. So I'm only charging £4, so I was kind of running at a loss, and that's before I've even bought the jiffy bag and the bubble wrap and things like that. Okay, so I'm going to send everything 48-hour tracked. Okay, so 2-day delivery instead of 1. If you really, really need next day delivery, let me know. I'll charge you a little bit extra, and I can do it sort of same day, well, not same day, next day, special delivery or whatever it's called. But by default, I'm going to be using Royal Mail tracked 48. Okay, so I have to book the postage. I have to get the parts, get them together, get them packaged up, book the postage, and that's then collected the next day, and then it's 48 hours. So it isn't really 48 hours, it's actually 72 hours. I've got to do that to try and keep the postage costs down, okay? Because it's just getting really expensive. Also had issues with customs, okay? So South Africa, particularly bad. Not the customs, just the postal service in general. I mean, it took like 4 months for something to arrive back in COVID, and since then the South African postal service has gone bankrupt, I think. Okay, so if you're in South Africa, for a while I wasn't posting South Africa. I've added it back on the list now, but there are problems, okay? I've got something in the post at the moment, South Africa. It was posted about 2 or 3 weeks ago, still hasn't arrived. I don't know what's going on over there. Whether the parcels getting stolen, I don't know. It's just really, really shocking. So I'm not sending by DHL or FedEx or anything like that. I did used to do that in the past. That's a lot of hassle, and I had a lot of problems with that, so I just don't do that anymore. I think Royal Mail use DHL for overseas for the sort of actual air mail bit. Okay, so it's kind of still going by DHL. But customs can be a bit fussy. Irish customs in particular. Sweden and Ireland. I don't know what it is. Your customs are so strict. So strict. If you mark it as gift, it won't get in. If you use the wrong tariff code, it won't get in. It's just, they're really, really fussy. I've had about 3 parcels returned from Ireland and about 2 things returned from Sweden. I don't know why those countries are so fussy about the customs thing. Yeah, so just be aware, if you are in Sweden and Ireland, it might take several attempts to actually get you your item that you've bought. Okay, I've also had problems with sort of people not taking delivery of things. So there was a parcel that I sent to somebody, and Royal Mail said they left a card, but clearly they didn't, and then it went to the local sorting office, and then the guy never went and picked it up, and in the end it came back to me. Meanwhile, I've got a PayPal case open going, you know, item not received. I can't give a refund because PayPal have frozen the fees. I sent it with a tracking number, and eventually after about 2 months it comes back to me. Okay, and then PayPal, I think, saw it in my favour because I had sent it by tracked delivery. It wasn't my fault it wasn't picked up. So it all just took a long time. And eventually, you know, I gave a refund, and I think the guy then reordered, and I sent new ones, and finally he did get them. But it took months of messing about. Okay, so if you order something, do keep an eye on the tracking number. I'll give you the tracking number. I send an email, you get a confirmation. Okay, so it will tell you when it's going to get delivered. And if you're not in, you know, it's probably down at your local sorting office. Go and pick it up, okay? Right, that's it. The only last thing, little Easter egg. Well, it's not Easter yet. It's a few months away. But I call it an Easter egg. If you're still watching, okay, to celebrate 7,000 subscribers and almost 2 million views, okay, which will both happen probably during November, I'm going to give free postage, okay, free worldwide postage, okay, and I'm going to put the voucher code at the bottom of the screen now. It will not be valid until the 1st of November, and it will expire on the 30th of November, okay. This is me giving something back to you guys for watching my videos and supporting my channel. Use the voucher code. I did a voucher code back in the Euro football tournament. Only about 2 people used it, and that was free worldwide postage. People were quite happily getting parcels shipped to Australia and Canada and America, paying a fortune in postage. They could have got it for free had they used the code at checkout. Okay, so here's the code. Use the code, save yourself a load of money on the postage, okay, but it will not start until the 1st of November. Okay, that is it. I think I've covered everything. Some bushes here for the drop links. When I do the drop links, I do the anti-roll bar bushes. There's more bolts and things for anti-roll bar. That was the only thing I hadn't covered on the table there. Pretty sure I've covered everything here. Headlight rods, okay, so new colours, a sort of teal, kind of turquoise, dark turquoise colour, and pink as well, and white. Okay, so these are rods that I've printed with a slight little blemish on them. I will try to put a pair of those for free in parcels. If you're not buying headlight rods and you haven't bought any headlight rods before, if you're buying a set of brackets, I'll try and pop in a pair of headlight rods when I remember to do so. Okay, Right, that's it. That's it. Vlog 5 done. I went well over 20 minutes, but I did film it in one hit. Amazing. Right, see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.